All right, you guys, this is breaking news about Bill Cosby being set free. It says here on, I'm looking on the New York Post or whatever, it says Bill Cosby to walk free after court overturns his S assault conviction. I can't say the word because you know. It says here Bill Cosby is set to be released from prison after Pennsylvania highest court overturned his S assault conviction on Wednesday. Cosby, 83, has served more than 2 years of a 3 to 10 year sentence at a state prison near Philadelphia. The state Supreme Court on Wednesday found that an agreement with a previous prosecutor prevented him from being charged for allegedly drugging and molesting Andrea Constant in 2004. The ruling bars any retrial in the case, the Philadelphia Inquirer reported. Charges were filed against Cosby, who was once celebrated as America's dad, in late 2015, just days before the 12-year statute of limitation expired. He was convicted in 2018 at his second trial after a first trial ended in a hung jury. He had refused to offer any remorse over the encounter with the Temple University employee, vowing instead to serve all 10 years of the sentence. Well, he said he didn't do it, so he's not going to have remorse if he said he didn't do it. He's going to stick to it whether you believe him or not. Now, I had a feeling that this was going to happen because I was watching on Vlad TV and a lawyer was on there and he was talking to Vlad and he said some stuff. He's a lawyer. He knows the law. He was saying some stuff about the law and why the trial was unfair. And I'm not gonna lie to you, whether he did something to these women, some of them or not. When it comes to this case, though, by law, they had ran out of time. So you could tell that it was because of the public outrage. That's what happened. I ain't saying he did it or he didn't, but what I am saying is when it comes to this case, it had ran the statute of limitations. So, but listen, I want you guys to listen to what's said. This is Tom Mesuru, whatever his name is. You can watch the interview on Vlad. I'm gonna let y'all listen to it though. Listen to what he said.
My career. Consider the following. First of all, they did not file the case in time. It's what is called a statute of limitations issue. You have to file a case in a certain amount of time, or you can't file it at all. We did our research and proved they didn't file this case on time. We filed our motion and all our evidence, and the judge refused to have a hearing on statute of limitations. That's what we call a jurisdictional issue. The case should never have been tried. There was no jurisdiction. But the judge wouldn't even have a hearing on that. Second of all, the prior district attorney of Montgomery County testified under oath that he made an agreement with Mr. Cosby's prior lawyers that Cosby would not be prosecuted, and because he was not going to be prosecuted, he should take a civil deposition. And that former district attorney to this day maintains, I entered into a binding agreement not to prosecute him. There was a hearing on that agreement, and the trial judge ruled that the former DA wasn't credible. Now, what was the relationship between the trial judge and the prior DA?
Listen to
They
this.
had been political opponents for DA. It had been a vicious, nasty campaign. So all of a sudden, you've got two opponents. One guy wins DA. He enters into an agreement not to prosecute Bill Cosby, which he to this day says was a binding agreement. His opponent, who lost, becomes the trial judge. Then there's a hearing on the binding agreement, and the trial judge decides his former opponent was not credible when he said, I entered into a binding agreement. This issue is before the Pennsylvania Supreme Court, okay? There's another problem, and that is that the judge allowed 5 other women to get on the stand and claim they'd been sexually assaulted. None of these cases were ever prosecuted. Some of them were 30 years old. Now, if somebody says 30 years ago, Bill Cosby assaulted me, tell me how we're supposed to defend them. Right. Can we find forensic evidence 30 years later? No.
Nope.
Can we find the witnesses 30 years later? No. Can we reconstruct what exactly happened 30 years ago? Of course not. So why are you allowing 5 women, none of whom were in criminal cases against him, case that involves someone else as the alleged victim, not them. It was purely done to prejudice the jury. It was purely done to deny Bill Cosby a fair trial. And if you put all of this stuff together, it was the most unfair trial I've ever been part of.
It was definitely one. All right. So, yeah, let's just call it what it is. It was an unfair trial. It really was, and you could tell that it was. The results happened because of the pressure of the public, and I don't care what you feel about it. You gotta go by the law. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't let the public of opinion pretty much convict someone just because based off of that. Because then you're gonna have something like this where they're gonna fight it. He got the money to fight it, and he might win, and he win. He's getting set free as well as he should based upon the law. Now I know some people are going to be upset about that, but the law is the law. When it comes to this case alone, he was done dirty because they had reached his statute of limitation. Now some people, here's what I gather. I do believe there's a lot of people that I saw, particularly in the black community. They felt like he was done dirty and that they were out to get him because he was powerful and he was going to, I think, did he say something about getting ABC? He was trying to purchase that or something. Kind of like the same thing Michael Jackson did. He was very powerful and he had all his money and he owned so much stuff, that so much catalogs and stuff like that, that they wanted him, you know. I don't know if that's true or not with this situation, but I do know that he was done dirty. It does make you wonder, is like, are you doing this because you care about the women? Because we know how Hollywood is. Like they honestly, they don't really care about that stuff. They only pretend to care when it's politically motivated. I'm just saying that they all got a lot of dirt. That's what I'm saying, and they protect. I don't know if you guys remember back in the day, an old video with, I think it was Corey Feldman. He was calling out Hollywood and the P word. You know when people mess with little kids. Um, he was saying that to Barbara Walters, the lady of The View. She's not on there anymore. She's, hella old. But he was basically calling it out. And she was like, how do you feel that you're going to tear up an entire industry? I'm like, this old bat, like you concerned about industry and all this stuff like that, but not protecting the youth. So that should tell you, based on her response, should tell you how it is in Hollywood. It's really like that. And I'm not saying everybody is trashy, but some people just keep quiet. It's like, well, if I come out, I'm not going to have the support. So what's the point? I might just try to keep my nose clean. That's just how they operate. But a lot of them, they be doing some shady, dirty stuff going on. And it's like, I think they know a lot of stuff about one another. And it does look suspect. Like, why are y'all willing to do all of this? Even to, like, break the law to trying to convict this man. Is it because you're really looking out for women? I don't know. I'm just not. I'm not convinced about that. But again, this talking about this is not really to say whether he's innocent or guilty. I mean, you can feel free to in the comment. But I just wanted to break this news because I'm sitting there watching a Bob Marley documentary, and it just come to my phone, and I'm just like, whoa, dang! I had a feeling it was coming, but I didn't know it was gonna come that quick because I watched that interview early on. But yeah, I mean, tell me what you think. Do you think it was right that he got out? I mean, by law it is. But do you think morally, like he did these things and he should be put away? And what? Tell me what you think in the comment section. Hit that like button, share, subscribe, and yeah.